want insider real estate investing training videos for free? Throughout this video, click the challenge button to subscribe to my free 30-day video series, How I Close Nearly a Deal a Day.
Welcome back for another week of the Vekselman Report, coming to you live from the Vekselman Marketing Office in New York, the very heart of some of the biggest and most exciting real estate deals in the world. I'm Michael David McGuire, along with our show host, Peter Vekselman. Peter, how you feeling today?
Doing great. Thank you.
Hey, last week, after we finished, an email came through, as they do. This one actually caught my eye, and I go through a stack of papers here. This one is from Jen in Coral Gables, Florida, and she asks, how do you know if real estate investing is right for you? And if I find the right piece of property, will you help me buy it?
Well, again, every situation is different. Every deal is different. And that's one of the things I do with my clients is identify what the right situation and right the deals are for them. But yeah, sure, I'd be more than happy to help them out. Just go to my website or give me a call and I'll address the particular situation.
Yeah, okay. Well, friends, if you'd like to get in on the conversation with a question for Peter Vekselman, you can reach us now live here in New York at area code 212-465-3205. Peter, we're ready. Are you ready?
All set.
Jason from Jonesboro, Georgia, on line 5. You're with Peter Vekselman here on the Vekselman Report.
Hey, guys. Great show.
Hey, thanks. What's your question for Peter Vekselman?
Well, Peter, what could be the first things that I can do in a new market, maybe as a new investor to start generating activity and getting deals done?
Hey, great question, Jason. The thing that I always encourage from a new investor perspective is I want to show you some kind of success, and I want to show it to you as quickly as possible. Because A, that's going to put a little money in your pocket. B, it's going to give you confidence. So the strategy I love to start out new investors with is a wholesaling strategy, where we're just going out there and identifying good deals at bargain prices, and then just simply wholesaling them or flipping them to other investors. So the key that I always encourage people to do is, number one, find as many local investors in your market as you possibly can. You could Google for them. They're all over social media. They're inside real estate clubs, and find out what kind of deals they're looking for. And then B, right away, start putting some kind of deals together. Now, the good thing about putting deals together is that you could actually hook up with some local other investors that have deals. They're called wholesalers. And you can connect these wholesalers with these investors that you've identified. You put yourself in the back end. You simply move the contract from your end to their end, and you make the difference. So find as many investors as you can. Find as many deals as you can by either using other wholesalers in the area, maybe get a couple of realtors that understand the investor game, or maybe even do a little direct marketing to get your own deals. And connect the deals with these back-end investors, and it's the quickest way to make money. It's the quickest way to get confidence in this business.
Peter, as I hear you talk, how would Jason, though, first approach these investors? I mean, do you just pick up the phone and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, I'd like to meet you? Or how do you do that?
Yeah, literally. It's no more sophisticated than that. See, these investors, Michael, they're looking for deals. I mean, they're hungry for deals, whether they're coming from Jason, Bob, Mary, or Steve. So absolutely, they're raising their hands and they're waiting for these calls to come in. I mean, it's not uncommon. My office on a weekly basis, we get dozens of calls from investors that are looking to move their deals to us. So absolutely.
Yeah, Jason, let me ask you, what real estate market are you looking to get into?
I'm looking to get in the Atlanta market. That's kind of my hometown.
Okay. Peter, that is a hot market, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no question. The bottom line is, Michael, that the world we're in right now, everything is a hot market. I mean, this is in 15 plus years of doing this business, I've never seen better opportunities than I'm seeing now all over the United States.
Jason, what's your cash flow now, or are you just starting out?
Just getting started. I work a regular job and just now getting started in real estate.
Are you looking to get into wholesaling, real estate investing as a way to get away from the day-to-day grind and have a better home-based business?
Yeah, wholesaling is what I've been interested in. It's kind of what I've been doing all my research on, and it does seem like the easiest or the quickest way to get into real estate without needing too much of your own money.
Yeah. Peter, what worries me in listening to Jason, and I mean, Jason, you're going to do fine, I'm sure, but what worries me is how does a young guy, you sound young, Jason, how does a young guy like Jason start out if, you're not sitting on a big pile of cash?
Well, that's the great thing about the strategy we're talking about is that if you actually have the right knowledge, if you have the right tools in line, in this strategy, you literally don't need money. I mean, you can go out there and for a couple $100, if you understand how to implement the strategy together, put yourself in a position that you're making $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on your first deal. Again, it's just simply identifying the investors that are looking for deals, identifying the deals that are in that marketplace, marrying the two, and you can make money literally within the first 30 to 60 days.
Jason, did you have another question for Peter Vekselman?
No, I think he touched everything that I had questions on.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for calling. Peter, based on listening to Jason talk, what are the risks, though, that somebody faces in getting into the real estate investing category?
The risks are always mitigated by the right kind of paperwork. But if you don't know and don't understand how to fill out the right kind of paperwork, it could put a potentially new investor in a bind. So the one thing I always encourage on is understand the contracts in this business, understand the inspection timelines, and understand the due diligence, the kick-out clauses, and those are the things that tend to tie up new investors, that not understanding how to structure the correct deals utilizing the right paperwork.
And that's the sort of thing you help your coaching or mentoring clients with.
Oh yeah, I mean that's from A to Z. I mean that's a must-have, and that's something I work with all of them on.
Peter, we received this email from Tricia in Santa Rosa, California. She asks, I heard you on one of your shows talk about people becoming a marketing partner. How could that help me here? I live north of the Bay Area, but property values here are really going up, which of course they are, and I am afraid that I may have missed the opportunities. Has she missed it, Peter?
No, absolutely not. The thing about real estate, it's a market that constantly changes. It's never a perfect market. It's never an awful market. It's always a changing market. So the key is to make sure you're set up correctly. You're implementing the right techniques. You're implementing the strategies. Make sure your business has the ability to move and fluctuate with the market. And as long as you do that, you never miss an opportunity because your model is always able to take advantage of whatever opportunities you're seeing.
But Peter, let me ask you this: with your coaching work, I mean, I know you work with people that are, working with lower level properties, and by that I mean less expensive properties, and I know people that you've helped tremendously. But then you're also working with people that are, let's say, playing with $5-10 million in capital, and in a market like the Bay Area. Now, Tricia says she's in Santa Rosa, which I don't know, 50, 60 miles away from the Bay Area. But in the Bay Area, where you're dealing with super multi-million-dollar pricing, or Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, that would be more suited for your trifecta program, where where you take on all of the marketing for people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things I do with people that I work with is identify their particular situation, their particular needs, what's the best way to position them in order for them to become profitable in their market, and then make decisions accordingly.
Yeah, and so this isn't like buying a box of cookies. I mean, it's not a cookie cutter approach. It's different for each person.
You don't want a cookie cutter approach in real estate because one does not exist. So no, personalize everything.
Yeah, I got it. Listen, friends, our number here in New York is area code 212-465-3205. If you're listening live right now, the lines are open for you to speak in person with Peter Vekselman, one of America's most successful real estate investors and real estate coaches. Peter, are you a tough coach?
Well, yes, that's what people pay me for.
All right. Are you ready to take another call?
I'm ready.
Seth in Turlock, California on line 1. You're on the air with Peter Vekselman.
Hey, Peter, thanks for taking my calls. I love your YouTube videos.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, I'm calling because I got a property that I'm working on right now. I'm trying to decide whether or not this is a good deal. The seller's telling me that he wants to sell it for $150,000. My projections are that it's going to be worth $220,000 after we repair the property. I believe we're going to be about $20,000 in rehab work. What type of numbers do you look for on those properties? What's your spread you're looking for?
Well, I'll tell you what, when everything's said and done, I want to make about a minimum 20% return on my money. Obviously when you add up the purchase price plus repairs and what the ultimate sales price, looks like you're getting into this deal just fine right up front. But I will tell you, even if you were a little bit more tight on this deal, maybe you weren't able to get that 20% up front, if you're within that 20 to 15%, what I always encourage people, go ahead and put the property under contract. Go through the due diligence, build a case during your due diligence, during your inspection about the kind of work that's needed, what the property could be sold for, and then actually go back in and renegotiate the deal. So again, on this particular deal, the numbers look good. You got yourself a minimum 20% return on your investment between the purchase price and the rehab price. But having said that, so that's a deal you definitely want to move forward to. I love it. You got a nice spread in there. But having said that, one of the biggest mistakes, especially beginner investors make, is they look for these perfect kind of deals, which don't exist very often. The fact that you found one that's great, definitely want to jump on it. But you want to evaluate deals in a very loose kind of way, that if you have any kind of potential there to renegotiate in the back end, I always say put those properties under contract, go through the due diligence, and then let's see if we can renegotiate them to a lower price.
Seth, it's McGuire, New York. Just a curious question. How did you find this particular property?
Well, we do letters to these properties. We target non-owner occupied. And we wrote some letters. Gentleman called in. We had some dialogue and sat down the other day, and he put an offer together. I offered him lower, 130, and he came back to me at 150. And I think I'm going to put it together. It seems like it's going to make a good amount of money.
And it sounds like these letters, or the other option would be postcards, of course. But you find that this type of mail communication works.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's all a numbers game. You just got to continue to market. You can't just send out a small amount of mailers. You've got to really hit people multiple times over and over again.
What's your mail volume every month?
Oh gosh, what do we start now? I believe last month we probably did 6,000 mailers.
Oh my! I trust you're not licking the postage stamps.
No, definitely not licking postage stamps. But I love the thing you said about negotiating after you're in contract. I've never thought about that. You can sit there and you can get an inspection then done and go back to the table and renegotiate.
Absolutely. And that's what you're going to find almost every single savvy and a sophisticated investor does. We're not looking for the best deals. We're just looking for sellers that are motivated in terms of willing to do some kind of reasonable price drop. And then we start building our case to go for the ultimate price drop.
Seth, listen, thank you very much for your question. Peter, one of the things that I've heard you stress in some of your public speaking, I've seen you in action on the speaking stage, the speaking circuit, I've heard you on other shows, is this idea of you don't have to negotiate the perfect deal on day one. You can always go back and see if you can get the deal better.
There's no question. There's no question. Just to give you some statistics when it comes to that, Michael, 80 to 90% of all the deals we currently are doing, we renegotiate during the due diligence period. And that's the art of the deal.
And of course, that's what you help your mentoring or coaching clients with. Peter, what would you say is one of the things that most people miss when they want to build a successful real estate investing career?
Well, what they don't do many times, they don't take account of their situation. Real estate is one of those businesses that one situation doesn't fit every single mold. So you have to understand, well, what is your financial position? You have to understand what marketplace are you in. You have to understand what your objectives are. You have to even understand things like how much time you could put in this business. And when you couple all those things together, then you as an individual should understand what you should be doing. And that's the mistake people make. They just simply don't understand those things, and they kind of shoot off the hip, and that's where they make their mistakes.
And part of your work as a mentor or coach is to help people come to those realizations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If someone is interested in working with you and your team, how do they get in touch?
Well, Mike, the best way to touch base with me in person is to just simply send a text directly to my cell phone. And that number is 404-915-9685.
And Peter, I know for a fact you're buying properties all over the country. I mean, quick cash offers. If somebody has a property they want to sell for quick cash, how do they contact you? Same way?
Yeah, just send me a text to my cell phone at 404-915-9685 and put the word cash offer in there.
Great. Peter, before we run out of time on this week's show, let me get the stack. I'll run through a couple of emails that came in.
Okay.
Thomas in Bend, Oregon writes, my uncle died and he left my wife and I 2 rental properties and about $100,000 in cash. The rental properties are occupied, but the monthly cash flow is way under current market prices for this area, which is in Eastern Oregon, I see. The tenants were friends of my uncle, and is $100,000 enough to get started in real estate investing?
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, depending if they were in leases or not, is how you address the rental rates. If they were in leases, you have to just wait for the leases to expire, and then you could either put a new tenant in there or raise the rents on these existing tenants. And in terms of 100,000, absolutely. There's a lot of things, a lot of techniques, a lot of strategies that an individual can utilize in this business with that kind of money and make plenty of money as a result.
You know, Peter, and we talk about, I know to a lot of people, $100,000 sounds like a lot of money. To someone like you doing $1 million deals, maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but I know it's all relative. But the important thing is, I guess you have to know your own unique situation.
Yeah, absolutely. This business lends itself to customization. What one individual could do, literally his neighbor may not be able to do based upon their situation, based upon their knowledge base or non-knowledge base, even based upon how much time they could put in. So it is very, very critical to connect with somebody that can analyze what you're capable of doing, what you should be doing, what you're not capable of doing, what you may not be needing to do.
And analyzing that personal situation, I know, is what you do with your real estate mentoring. A second email here quickly. Dorothy in Fort Wayne, Indiana writes, my first husband and I did really well in real estate investing about 20 years ago, but we got out before he died. I am now 65 and retired. I want to get back in, but my current husband is unsure. He is also retired, and we get his military pensions. How do I convince him?
Well, what I tell people when it comes to convincing, it's not always something you could verbalize. It's something you could prove based upon the actions you implement. And I've worked with plenty of people like that, where we just say we know what our number one objective is to get some kind of results, to get something that's documentable, to get something that's measurable. And that's what I would suggest doing. Do something in this business that's measurable, that your husband could look at and see, wow, there's results. And sometimes those biggest naysayers become your biggest cheerleaders.
Well, and I think Dorothy has this email from Dorothy in Fort Wayne, Indiana, sort of a different situation, because at least they have a safety net because of that military pension, right?
It helps. It absolutely helps not having your back against the wall.
Yeah. Quickly, Peter, 30 seconds, quick answer. James in Greensboro, North Carolina writes, I've heard you say you love your job, which you do, yes. But what part of it do you hate? That's interesting.
Well, I'll tell you, the only thing I don't like about doing what I do in terms of helping people is sometimes people just don't listen. And what happens when they don't listen, they don't get the results they want. And from my perspective, being where I am in this business, seeing what's possible, boy, I sure hate it when people don't take advantage of this business the correct way.
Yeah, and I imagine that's frustrating. Well, Peter, listen, as always, good talking with you today. What do you have coming up next week?
Well, we're actually heading down to Orlando to a big baseball tournament for one of our sons. While we're there, we're also going to enjoy some Disneyland with our daughter and other son. But I tell you, it's the flexibility of this business that I love so much.
Well, Peter Vekselman, that sounds good. We'll see you next week.
Mike, hey, as always, great plugging in with you.
Hey, you guys know what we do here. We do a ton of deals, and I have a one-on-one coaching program where I coach people just like you to help become very, very successful real estate investors. So if you're a buyer or you know other buyers literally all over the world that are looking for deals in a Georgia market, specifically concentrated towards Atlanta, you need to be on our buyers list. By now, you'll see my email scrolling across the screen. Send me an email. Just say, add me to the buyers list. And on a daily basis, you're going to get some terrific, both ROI and equity-driven deals emailed right directly to you through email. The other thing, if you're looking to become a successful investor, whether you're brand new, just getting started, or whether you're doing it already and you're looking to be a bigger, more sophisticated, more savvy investor, I know I could help you do that. Send me an email to learn more about my one-on-one coaching program, or better yet, right below this video, there's a link right directly to coachingbypeter.com. You can go straight there and learn more about how I could help you become very successful in this industry.